everybody, how's it going? I hope you had a safe and sober Memorial weekend. I did. It was very uneventful. I actually had made some brisket at Easter time. It was also my son's 24th birthday fell on Easter this year, so it was double celebration. Anyway, I had cooked a 17-pound brisket, and even though my daughter and son and my ex-husband came by, everybody took stuff home, I still had a ton of it, so I pulled that out of the freezer, and we had that for Memorial Day and just made some macaroni salad. Anyway, today I'm drinking my coffee with a straw. I don't know why. Who knows? Don't ask. Okay, so I thought about a subject that is very emotional and touchy for some people, but why not? Let's just jump right into it. Is loss. Losing a friend or a family member to drug or alcohol. It's happened to me a couple of times. Now, the first time it happened to me, it was a very dear friend, and I took it extremely hard. And the second time it happened, he was more of an acquaintance, really nice guy. He was actually a friend of mine's drug dealer. I know it's horrible, whatever, but he would go to rehab, came from a very wealthy family in New York, and he was living down in South Florida, and his family they'd fly down and they'd get him and they'd take him to these $1 million rehabs, and it just, it never stuck. And I remember when I heard about it, the last time he went to rehab, he had been sober for like 6 months, and he tried to go out and do the same amount of drugs he was doing before, and unfortunately he passed away. So my very first experience with it was a very, very dear friend, and her name was Diane. And I think about Diane every day, more so than I ever think about my parents. They're both passed away. And I think it was because Diane was she touched me, and we were so close, and we used to laugh. Oh my goodness, that's a whole other story. But anyway, I randomly met her. I want to say it was around 2012. At the pool at the apartment complex I was living in Houston. And she was so funny. This girl was 4 foot tall and 4 foot wide. And she just had this giant personality. And I mean, one of the first things she told me is, "Hi, I'm Diane and I'm a lesbian." And I was like, well, good for you. Way to go. I mean, I don't care. Love is love. Whatever floats your boat. Blows up your skirt. Whatever. So anyway, we would hang out at the pool all the time, and her mother had lived in this apartment complex, I want to say 12 to 15 years. They were there a long time. And she would come over to my apartment every morning, and we would have coffee, and she'd bring her little dog, and we would just sit there and, BS, have coffee and whatever. And sometimes we'd go to a movie or run errands, but mostly it was just chit-chatting at the pool or at my place. And sometimes I'd go to her apartment. Her mom was super nice lady. Anyway, she was addicted to prescription pain pills, both Norcos and Somas. And that's back when Houston's pill mills were just like at an all-time high. I mean, this is before DEA cracked down. You could doctor shop. I mean, you could go to 3-4 doctors a day if you wanted to. If you could find the pharmacy to fill it, God bless, right? So she was, that was her thing. And occasionally she'd take a Xanax, and occasionally she might have a drink, but her drug of choice was Soma and Norco, Anyway, I remember kind of talking to her about it, and then this is before I even started drinking. This is like, let me see, that was 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. That was 4 years before I started even drinking. And I never condemned her for, what she was doing. I just was her friend. And I remember how devastated she was when I told her I was moving to South Florida. She did not want me to go. And, I didn't want to leave her, but, with Jesse's job and, life changes, right? And we have to deal with it. Anyway, it's hard. When I think about her, but anyway, I moved, and this is when all the pill mills started getting shut down. I'd been in Florida maybe a month at this point, and she would call me every day, and she says, "Girl, they're shutting, this clinic's closed and this pharmacy's closed, and there's cops everywhere." And she's like, my man, that I get them from can't get them anymore. And I was like, oh, girl, what are you going to do? You know? And she's like, I don't know. Anyway, I remember she would call me and she'd be all fucked up on Xanax. And I tried to talk to her. I mean, have you ever tried to talk to somebody on Xanax? Have you ever tried to talk on Xanax? I took it a couple of times therapeutically. I mean, my doctor prescribed it, and I think he gave me like 2, and it was before or after surgery. I forget. Anyway, not for me. How funny, because I like to drink. Anyway, she would call me and she'd be all fucked up. And then she'd have her moments of clarity. I'd say, listen, Diane, girl, you got to lay off those Xanax. But she was going through such bad withdrawals on the pills. I guess that was just the only thing she could do. She wasn't going to go to rehab. And she had been in trouble with the law over pills. She used to work at a big chain pharmacy. And she was a clerk in the pharmacy. And her girlfriend was a pharmacy tech. And this is before they were like, they wouldn't do pill counts like they do now, and they weren't locked up in safes. She was stealing Somas and Norcos left and right. And I think her girlfriend was covering for her. But anyway, then she got busted, so they fired her. But then she would go and visit her girlfriend and steal pills that way. And then she went to a doctor and tried to forge a prescription. She ended up doing 6 months in jail. And that wasn't enough for her. She went to jail like twice for this. Anyway, I remember she called me one night. I was living in Florida, and it was like midnight, 1 a.m., something like that. And she was so fucked up. And she's like, Donna, I fucked up. She's like, I did heroin and I'm lost. I can't get home. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I woke straight up out of bed. I sat up like, whoa, like fire under my ass. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Apparently the guy she was getting pills from, him and his wife, turned her on to heroin. Fabulous. Anyway, I'm in South Florida, 1,800 miles away. I've lived in Houston a very long time. So I said, okay, where are you? And she told me, I said, get off the freeway. Do me that favor. So she got off the freeway, and I said, pull over and catch your breath. And I said, tell me exactly where you are. And I got her home the back way. It took over an hour, but she made it. And I was up all night after that, and I was just so upset. And so I sat on it for a couple of days, and we didn't talk. We texted, hey, how's it going? That kind of shit. But I didn't talk to her. Anyway, I finally called her, and I said, you know, what happened the other night is not good. She was, oh, I know what I'm doing. My guy, you know, knows how to do it. And all. I go, Diane, you are playing Russian roulette. I'm a nurse, and I'm telling you, you're playing with fire. She wasn't hearing it. I didn't know anything. I'm dumb as shit. So I don't want to lose her friendship over it, but I'm also not going to enable her either. Okay? This is before I even knew the terms. But I knew I can't support this. So we hung up, and I wrote this very long text message. It was like a novel. And the highlights of it were, you know, Diane, I love you so much, and you are one of my best friends, and we just click so quickly, and I'm going to miss your laugh and your this. And that was leading up to the fact that I can't do this anymore. I said, I'm going to change my cell phone number from a Texas exchange to a Florida exchange, and I'm not going to be giving you that number. And until you know, can straighten out, you know, this is how it's going to be. And I gave her my address. Okay. So I didn't even let her respond to it. I just deleted her, blocked her, I wrote her phone number down, but I took her out of my phone. Anyway, fast forward 6 weeks. And this was heavy on my heart because I miss Diane so much. And here I am trying to get, you know, acclimated to living in South Florida again and everything. And I missed talking to her very much. Sorry. Anyway, I wrote a text message on my new phone. I put her back in my phone, you know, Diane and her number. And I said, hey, Diane, this is Donna. I know it's been a long 6 weeks, but I'm hoping and praying that you finally got the help that you need and that you're doing okay. I understand if you're angry with me, but, you know, just let me know you're all right. Love, Donna. So all day I didn't hear anything. No text message back. Excuse me. Not a phone call, nothing. So I had a friend coming over and we were going to go out, and my phone rang and it said Diane, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, she called me, you know, and I answered. I'm like, hey girl. And she goes, Donna, this voice. And I'm like, yes. And she goes, this is so-and-so, Diane's mother. And I'm like, oh, how are you? I haven't seen you since I moved. She goes, well, I'm not well. I just wanted to let you know that Diane passed away 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, the fuck? I go, what happened? Did she have a heart attack? She goes, no, she died of a drug overdose on her dealer's couch. Wow. Couldn't make it up if I tried. And I didn't really like start crying at first. I wanted to know what happened. So this is what she told me. And mind you, it's been a few years since Diane passed away. She passed away 2015, 2014, right after I left. Anyway, so she said that her daughter had called her. She knows, her mom knew these people that Diane was buying pills from. But she didn't know that Diane was buying pills from them. She just thought they were friends, a married couple that were her friends. So she got a text message from Diane around midnight. She says, hey, I'm going to hang out at Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so's house, but I'll be home before morning, and we can go get your prescriptions picked up and go run your errands and whatever. So her mom said, okay, good night, I love you. And Diane said, I love you too. So 7 o'clock in the morning rolls around, and her mom, Diane's not home. She hadn't heard from Diane. She tries calling her, goes straight to voicemail. So her mom calls Diane's sister, and Diane and her sister were not close at all. But anyway, it's whatever. And she's like, I haven't heard from her. So her sister tried, nothing. They tried calling the cell phone company to try and track her phone, but they couldn't do it because it was a private account, and she's an adult, and all this, you know how it goes. Anyway, at like 5 o'clock that afternoon, when she went missing, she gets a phone call from Diane's phone. So of course she's, trying to grab the phone, and it's this woman. And she said, hey, this is so-and-so. And she's, I don't even know how to tell you this, but she said, Diane died at our house last night. And of course her mom is just like freaking out. Okay. Her mom's older, and she's just like, oh my God, where are you? She got the address and called her daughter, and they drove over there, and there's police everywhere, and they were waiting on the medical examiner. And she said, where's my daughter's purse and her phone? And that lady's acting dumb as fucking shit. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, you called me on my daughter's phone. No, I didn't. So Diane's sister's over here on the sly called Diane's number, and her purse is ringing. So Diane's mom got her purse and got her phone and whatever. So what she was told by the police, Diane's mom, is they received a call at 5 o'clock in the morning saying that this girl had passed away. So why is Diane's mom not hearing about it till 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Here's why. Well, let me back up fast forward just a second. Medical examiner said she'd been dead since around 1 o'clock in the morning. So those people were lying to begin with. But what happened was, apparently, they're drug dealers, so they had to clear the decks. They had to get all the drugs out and do all this shit before they called the cops. And I think they even thought about moving her body, but because they were on the second floor and she was a little big, I think that they had to change up their plans. I mean, I don't know. Fuck, I wasn't there. Anyway, a lot of time lapsed. Whether they got in trouble for this or tampering with a corpse, or I don't know what charges were brought on them, if any. Anyway, she said, we tried to get a hold of you, but you changed your number. And I was just devastated. And I said, let me call you back. And this is when I started bawling. And Diane and I would talk about the most random shit. There was this cemetery right next to the apartment complex that we live in. It was an old Houston cemetery. And we'd get coffee and our dogs, and we'd walk over there, and we'd sit on benches, and, we'd lay on graves, and we just talk about weird, stupid shit. And she said to me one time, she goes, if I died, would you come to my funeral? And I'm like, girl, you don't even have to ask me that, And I said, I would just eulogize the shit out of you. And we were just kind of laughing about it, She says, I'm afraid to die, and I'm afraid to die alone. And I said, well, I'm not afraid to die. I know where I'm going, and I know that this is just a temporary vessel. And I tried to, ease her. I'm not a big religious person, but I do believe in God and my Lord Jesus Christ. So I tried to talk to her a little bit about that, but whatever. So after her mom told me she died, that's the first thing I thought of. She died alone. Overdosing on heroin on a filthy fucking couch. And then I wasn't even there for her funeral. I carried a lot of anxiety about it, but I realized, I'm sorry, I have to hit something on my phone. Someone's trying to call me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm still not really great with this whole video thing. I probably should have put it on airplane mode. Fuck, I don't know. Anyway, I carried a lot of grief and a lot of guilt, and then it was like shortly after that, like by 2016, I'm drinking, And every time I got super fucking drunk, I would get over emotional about Diane. And since being sober, it's so much better. I'm so much at peace with her being gone and that she's not suffering anymore. And I know I've got a little guardian angel, a little chubby guardian angel that watches over me. But I'd love to hear in the comments if you've ever been affected by losing someone to drugs and alcohol, and how did it affect you? Did it affect your sobriety? Did you decide to get sober or clean when that happened, or did you make bad choices? You know what I mean? Anyway, what else is going on? Not a whole lot. You know, had a sober and safe Memorial Weekend, and I hope all of you did too. And, you know, if by chance you slipped up and you relapse, that's okay. I used to be a chronic relapser. That's because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I used to think that I could tiptoe through the tulips with Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's just not true. You got to work the program. You got to work those steps. You got to do what you got to do. Get that sponsored, go to those meetings, whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, it's not going to work. We've all tried to get sober alone, and we figured out, this isn't happening. So anyway, on that note, I'd like to end this with the Serenity Prayer. It is something that is very close to me, as I know a lot of it is, a lot of you feel it's close to you too. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Have a wonderful day. Go out there and make great choices, and I'll see you later. Bye.